Chapter 2, Introduction to Holographic Human Transformation Theory Map and the Sensory Functions. Identify problem areas by having the person stand and ask them questions. Notice body movements, their position, a glance, movement in the location is identified on the Holographic Human Transformation Body Map. This will identify their response to your question within 2 seconds of conscious having access to the answer. Their verbal response may or may not correspond with their position, gestures, or glances. The most important response you are looking to identify is their nonverbal response. The movement will tell the real response in the subconscious. It will identify the sense, and the holographic human map shows the functions, data compression programs, and elements involved and associated with the question. Examples of questions you might ask others or yourself. A. What do you want? B. What do you need to get there? C. What is keeping you from getting there? D. What do you lose if you get what you want? E. What is your greatest strength? F. What is your great weakness? G. Why do you struggle? H. Why haven't you overcome yet? I. Why does your weakness hold you back? J. Who is responsible for your weakness? K. What is your greatest strength? L. Which choice do you change to grow? M. Which weakness can be your greatest strength? N. Which goal is really most important to you? O. How can you begin to accomplish your change? P. How does this all come about for you? Q. Where will change take your life? R. Where are your greatest strengths for change? You do not have to be standing to practice these questions and reading the holographic human body map. The movement, gesture, or position may even seem very natural and can be just slight. Still, any movement indicates communication from the brain through the central nervous system to that area of the body. This also then indicates sensory data being accessed from the brain. If you're working with a group, read body movement with the group. Have them practice reading each other. Divide into small groups and have one group member at a time stand in the center. Have the other group members ask the one standing in the center questions listed prior and read their body language based upon the holographic human map. The person's verbal response is not the key factor, yet identify their answers based upon the holographic human body map areas. These are subconscious responses and might even contradict their verbal responses. Neurological sensory firing orders are a part of the whole system creating our being. The central nervous system is the main communication system for the human body to communicate with other systems throughout the body. There are structures, patterns, and processes that it follows to do this and other primary functions. It goes through a specific route in the firing order when processing, storing, or accessing any sensory data. Depending on the first sense fired, there is a natural pattern of firing through the other human sensory data. Just as the sensory data is used to create different program models, the different sensory firing orders create differences in our subconscious and conscious experiences. This in turn creates our conscious experiences differently depending on the sensory firing order. Each human sense with their different functions, elements, and data processing programs is individualized for different experiences and aspects of human beings. There are 6 different primary personality firing orders and 6 different personality descriptions based upon the different firing orders. Identify your sensory personality based on the central nervous system's firing order through your sensory data. Learn what creates you, your thoughts, your feelings, behaviors, and programs. Based upon the different functions, data compression programs, and elements of the different senses, we have many aspects of just being human which may make our lives seem much more complicated than they actually are. Take, for example, the simple elements of mind, emotion, and body, and their associated senses. If your firing order begins with sound or sight, you will think on a conscious level at your first and fourth firing. If your firing order begins with a sense of touch or energy, you will have an emotional response first and fourth and not even think before you do. If your firing order begins with taste or smell, you will have a physical response first and fourth prior to thinking or feeling emotion. We are all very different, and the holographic human transformation theory helps you understand many things about yourself and the programs running you. Learn to identify your own and another's sensory firing order, thereby know more than you could have imagined about yourself and others. Keeping this simple by just using the holographic human map and reading your own and others' body language will give you information about the depths of your programs that make you what you are. With practice and repetition and this simple map, you may easily begin to know many details behind your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Everything has function, purpose. Everything has beginning, origin. Everything may be known. Everything has been created, and anything may be created. Knowing thyself is the beginning of healing thyself, change. By the time the data comes to conscious, and if we are aware of it, it is deleted, distorted, and generalized. It is filed into programs and models that have already existed for years. Being able to change thought, feeling, behavioral structures, patterns, and processes is virtually impossible until you can recognize them from their origin, purpose, and processes. The sensory firing order affects not only our internal processing, but creates our personality, our thoughts, our emotions, our relationships, our physical experiences, and core beliefs. Each human sense has a primary programming function it operates to create our models and programs of our being. Data from the sense of sound is used to create models and programs of values, ethics, and meanings. Sight is used to create ideas, reason, and concepts. Touch creates programs of our relationships, and energy creates programs for our actions and intuitions. The sense of taste data creates program models of our beliefs about character, and smell creates our program models of beliefs about strategies. These different senses and their different models and programs all work together through the sensory firing order, with each sense having different priorities based upon the firing order. All parts of being human is holographic, and each part represents the whole of our being. As human beings, it begins from the senses and our experiences through them. Every aspect of our being is holographic. Every aspect of our whole corresponds with every other aspect of our being, and the combination of it all creates the total of each human being. Right side subjective. Our brain processes and stores data to create programs to run our being. Anything processed on the right side of our body is processed subjectively. This includes the senses on the right side of the holographic human map: sound, touch, and taste. Their functions, data compression programs, and elements are therefore processed as just fact rather than as independent mind. All aspects of these senses are harder to observe, rather they are taken very personally. Values, ethics, meanings, relationships, and beliefs about character are just naturally personal instead of being able to observe them. Having things be subjective can make it difficult to truly get to know and understand, and can even have a tendency to have things seem very personal when in reality they are not. Left side objective. The brain processes and stores data to create programs to run our being from the senses located on the left side of the holographic human map objectively. The sense of sight, energy, and smell are processed and programs created from this sensory data more as an observer than a personal experience. The conscious effect of this in the natural man is that ideas, reasons, concepts, actions, and intuitions, beliefs about strategies are programs without consideration of independent existence. These are just perceived more without distortion of personal thought, feelings, or prejudice. Are you beginning yet to get an idea of some of the just natural ways we function that make us human in ways at times we don't always enjoy? Reference, motivator, and crusher senses, in each firing order with their different major and minor meta-programs and their effect on you. Regardless of the sensory firing order, reference, motivator, and crusher senses stay in the same order They are associated with different senses, and depending on the firing order, still, these functions remain the same. The first and fourth sense fired in the firing orders are always used as reference senses. Reference means the sense, functions, data compression programs, and elements are used like consulting data regarding any data processed and in conscious thought, feelings, and behaviors. This results in 3 of the 6 different firing orders having completely different automatic reference points. The second and fifth sense firing in any of the firing orders are crusher senses. These are built-in processes of the sensory functions, data compression programs, and elements being the data used to make decisions. The third and sixth sense fired in any sensory firing order are motivator senses, and the functions, data compression programs, and elements of these senses are used to motivate the individual. The firing orders in these different areas of references, decisions, and motivators, just natural patterns used when the sensory data is processed. The sense of sound is located above the shoulders on the right side of the body. The primary question indicating the sense of sound is what? The subconscious takes the data through the sense of sound and creates program models of values, meanings, and ethics for us from it. These programs are the basis of things of importance in our lives. We hold in a high regard and appreciate in life. These programs base our models of what is good, what is bad, and moral principles. Different elements that are governed by the sense of sound that are subconscious program models of our life experiences. A few of these are past. All of our past memories are stored with the sense of sound, therefore maintain their value and meaning in our lives. Direction comes from our past and the sense of sound. Guidance or supervision of our actions and assistance in pointing out the proper route functions through the sense of sound and comes from our past as well as have meaning and value to us. The sense of sight is located on the left side of the body above the shoulder area just across from the sense of sound. The primary question for the sense of sight is why. The subconscious takes sensory data from the sense of sight and creates program models of our own ideas, reasons, and concepts. The elements for the sense of sight are the same elements as the sense of sound. So, ideas, reasons, and concepts are based upon our past, as is direction based upon things we have seen and our conscious response to these. The sense of touch is located on the right side of the body between the shoulder and the hip area. The primary question for the sense of touch is who. The subconscious takes sensory data from the sense of touch and creates our program models for our relationships and our program models of being able to relate one thing to another. Other elements associated with the sense of touch program models are present time, so our relationships and the way we can or cannot relate one thing to another is very present time oriented for us. Questioning is associated with the sense of touch program models, and we question relationships in the present naturally due to this. We question the way different or similar things can relate to one another. The sense of energy is located on the left side of the body, between the shoulder and the hip area, just across the body from the sense of touch. The primary question for the sense of energy is which. The subconscious uses sensory data from the sense of energy to create program models for our actions and our intuitions. Elements associated with the sense of touch are also associated with the sense of energy. The sense of taste is located on the right side of the body from the hip area down. The primary question for the sense of taste is how. The subconscious uses sensory data from the sense of taste to create program models for our beliefs of character. Elements associated with the sense of taste are future. This affects our beliefs about character to also relate into the future, even though the future hasn't even happened yet. Modeling becomes a belief of character and future program model in the subconscious. Having a role model regarding our character beliefs for our future is associated with the subconscious program models based on these elements. Smell is located on the left side of the body from the hip area down, just across from the sense of taste. The primary question for the sense of smell is where. The subconscious uses sensory data from the sense of smell to create program models of our beliefs about strategies and the functions of things. The elements associated with the sense of taste are also associated with the sense of smell, and these elements affect the beliefs of strategies and functions as well. All the senses, their functions, elements, different major and minor metaprograms, also called data compression programs, interact with one another through the central nervous system through specific firing orders, and added together create much of what we consider to be our whole being, oneness. Our personality, identity, thoughts, emotions, behaviors, beliefs, everything about us is a compilation of these subconscious programs created from the sensory data from our environment, in addition to our own and others' conscious thought and conscious responses to the sensory data. These functions and patterns of the brain are just aspects of our natural man, our being human, and we do not know any way of changing the subconscious structures, patterns, and processes. The one significant aspect and the brain any one of us may change is our conscious thought, our conscious perception of any of the sensory data and of the program models themselves. We can create new programs based upon the same way the brain works, and the brain and central nervous system itself will reroute to new program models. This results in change in our personality, identity, thoughts, emotions, behaviors, beliefs. A complete change of every aspect of our being is not only possible, but easily attained when you know the way it is designed and works. Changing the conscious thought is accomplished more easily once we understand the conscious and subconscious functions, structures, patterns, and processes. Knowing this in our individual program models puts us in charge of our conscious and subconscious natures. Finally, being one as a whole being. No longer fighting our own thought. No longer experiencing emotions tearing us apart. Having natural behaviors to accomplish our life's goals.